All right, folks, let's talk about the war in Ukraine. Not the sanitized version you get from the mainstream media, not the Twitter hot takes, and definitely not the politician-approved sound bites. No, today we're cutting through the noise to ask the one question that actually matters. Does anyone in power actually want this war to end? Because here's the deal. This war isn't just about Ukraine. It's about a global power struggle, economic manipulation, and let's be real, a whole lot of money flowing into the right pockets. The longer this drags on, the more it benefits the people who thrive on endless conflict. Meanwhile, the ones who actually suffer? Regular folks, Ukrainians, Russians, Europeans, Americans. People trying to live their lives while governments play chess with real human lives. And before someone gets their feathers ruffled, let's be clear. I'm not saying Ukraine doesn't have the right to defend itself. But if we're pouring billions into this war, shouldn't we at least be asking if there's an actual path to peace? Or is the real plan to just keep this thing going indefinitely? So today we're breaking it down into three big questions. The cost of war, who pays and who profits? Spoiler, it's not the politicians. Geopolitical fallout, what's at stake if this keeps going? Because this isn't just about Ukraine and Russia anymore. The peace question, is a negotiated end even possible? And if so, why hasn't it happened yet? We're going to separate fact from fiction, get into the uncomfortable truths, and, hopefully, leave you with a clearer picture of what's really going on. So, strap in. It's time to go full spectrum. And before we dive in, do me a favor. If you like what we're doing here, hit that like button, share the episode, and leave a review. It helps get this message out to more people who actually care about the truth. All right, let's get into it. All right, let's dive into the nitty-gritty of this conflict. The dollars and cents, the winners and losers. War isn't just fought on battlefields, it's waged in wallets and bank accounts too. So, who's footing the bill and who's cashing in? The financial toll on taxpayers. First up, let's talk about us, the taxpayers. Since the onset of the conflict in February 2022, the U.S. Congress has appropriated over $174 billion in aid to Ukraine. That's a staggering amount, and it's our money being sent overseas. To put it in perspective, that's roughly $165 per U.S. citizen per year. Now, I'm all for supporting allies, but it's essential to ask, where exactly is this money going?
Defense contractors, the big winners.
While taxpayers are opening their wallets, defense contractors are watching their profits soar. The world's top 100 defense companies amassed $632 billion in combined revenue in 2023, a 4.2% increase from the previous year. Companies like BAE Systems, Lockheed Martin, and Raytheon Technologies have seen significant boosts in orders and profits. BAE Systems, for instance, reported record orders, with sales expected to exceed £30 billion next year. The military-industrial complex in overdrive. This surge isn't just a coincidence, it's the military-industrial complex in full swing. Conflicts like the one in Ukraine create a demand for weapons, ammunition, and military technology. Defense contractors ramp up production, governments increase defense budgets, and the cycle continues. It's a lucrative business model, if you're on the receiving end. Economic strain on donor countries. But what about the countries providing this aid? The financial strain is palpable. European nations, for example, are grappling with how to fund increased defense spending without destabilizing their economies. Discussions are underway about breaking fiscal rules or introducing new levies to cover these costs.
It's a delicate balancing act, bolstering defense capabilities while keeping economies afloat.
Ukraine's economic desperation. On the flip side, Ukraine's economy is in dire straits. The war has led to a dramatic GDP decline of 36% in 2022, with modest recoveries in subsequent years. The country is heavily reliant on foreign aid, not just for defense, but for basic economic stability. And with reconstruction costs estimated at a staggering $500 billion, the financial outlook is daunting. The moral quandary. So, where does this leave us? We're caught in a moral and financial quandary. Supporting Ukraine is crucial, but it's essential to scrutinize where the money goes and who benefits most. Are we funding freedom or fueling a profit-driven war machine? It's a tough question, but one that demands our attention. In the end, while defense contractors see their profits soar, taxpayers bear the financial burden, and Ukraine continues to struggle. It's a complex web of interests, and untangling it requires transparency, accountability, and most importantly, a concerted effort toward peace. All right, folks, let's shift gears and talk about the bigger picture, the geopolitical chessboard that's being upended by the ongoing war in Ukraine. This isn't just a regional skirmish, it's a conflict with ripples that extend far beyond Eastern Europe. So, what's really at stake if this war drags on? A fractured global order. First off, the war in Ukraine is challenging the very foundations of the post-World War II international order. The United Nations Charter emphasizes the prohibition of the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity of any state. Russia's actions in Ukraine blatantly violate this principle, undermining global norms and setting a dangerous precedent. If such aggression goes unchecked, it signals to other nations that might makes right, eroding the rule-based international system we've relied on for decades. NATO's dilemma. NATO finds itself in a precarious position. The alliance was built on collective defense, but direct military intervention in Ukraine risks a full-scale war with Russia, a nuclear-armed power. This tightrope walk has led to increased military deployments in Eastern Europe and a surge in defense spending among member nations. However, the longer the conflict persists, the greater the strain on NATO's unity and resources. There's also the looming threat of accidental escalation. A misstep or miscalculation could ignite a broader conflict, something no one wants but everyone fears. Europe's security conundrum. For Europe, the war has been a wake-up call. Years of underinvestment in defense, coupled with a heavy reliance on diplomatic solutions, have left many countries ill-prepared for the current reality. The conflict has prompted a re-evaluation of security policies, with nations like Germany and France pledging to bolster their military capabilities. But rebuilding a robust defense posture takes time and money, resources that are stretched thin, especially with economies still recovering from the pandemic. Economic turbulence. Speaking of economies, the war has thrown global markets into disarray. Sanctions against Russia have disrupted supply chains, leading to increased energy prices and inflation. Europe, in particular, faces an energy crisis, grappling with the challenge of weaning itself off Russian gas. This economic strain isn't confined to the continent. It's a global issue. Rising prices and market volatility affect everyone, from small businesses in the U.S. to manufacturing hubs in Asia. The China factor. Let's not forget the elephant in the room, China. As the West focuses on Russia, China is watching closely, assessing the global response. The war in Ukraine could embolden Beijing's ambitions, particularly regarding Taiwan. If the international community appears divided or hesitant, it might signal to China that similar aggression could go unpunished. This potential shift in the global power balance adds another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation.
Humanitarian crisis.
Amid all the geopolitical maneuvering, it's crucial to remember the human cost. Millions of Ukrainians have been displaced, cities have been reduced to rubble, and countless lives have been lost. The longer the war continues, the deeper the humanitarian crisis becomes, leading to long-term societal scars that will take generations to heal. The path forward. So, where does this leave us? The stakes are undeniably high. A prolonged conflict in Ukraine doesn't just mean continued suffering for its people. It threatens global stability, economic prosperity, and the very principles of international law. It's imperative for global leaders to intensify diplomatic efforts, seek viable solutions, and, most importantly, prioritize peace over power plays. In the end, the question isn't just about who will win the war in Ukraine. It's about what kind of world we'll be left with when the dust settles. And that's something that should concern us all. All right, let's tackle the million-dollar question. Is peace in Ukraine even on the table? After years of relentless conflict, shifting alliances, and countless negotiations that have led nowhere, it's easy to feel cynical. But let's break it down and see where things stand. A history of false starts. First, a quick rewind. Since the invasion began in 2022, there have been multiple attempts at peace talks. Early negotiations in Belarus and Turkey showed a glimmer of hope, but ultimately fizzled out. The discovery of atrocities in places like Bucha only deepened the mistrust, making meaningful dialogue even more elusive. The current landscape. Fast forward to today, and the situation remains complex. Recent talks in Riyadh between the US and Russia have stirred the pot, especially since Ukraine wasn't at the table. Understandably, this exclusion hasn't sat well with Kyiv. President Zelensky has made it clear Ukraine won't accept ultimatums or backroom deals that compromise its sovereignty. The sticking points. Several major hurdles stand in the way of a negotiated peace. 1. Territorial integrity. Russia insists on keeping the territories it has annexed, while Ukraine demands a full withdrawal of Russian forces. It's a classic stalemate. 2. NATO aspirations. Russia wants guarantees that Ukraine will never join NATO. Ukraine, on the other hand, sees NATO membership as a shield against future aggression. 3. Security guarantees. Ukraine seeks ironclad assurances from Western allies to prevent future invasions. Given past experiences, vague promises won't cut it. 4. Sanctions and reparations. Russia is eager to see sanctions lifted, but many in the international community believe consequences are necessary for actions taken. The human element. Amid these geopolitical chess moves, it's crucial to remember the human cost. Millions of Ukrainians have been displaced, cities lie in ruins, and the scars of war run deep. Any peace deal that doesn't address the needs and voices of those directly affected is bound to falter. A glimmer of hope? Despite the challenges, there's a growing chorus advocating for renewed negotiations. Austria has even offered to host peace talks, signaling a willingness within the international community to facilitate dialogue. The road ahead. So, is a negotiated peace possible? In theory, yes, but it requires genuine commitment from all parties involved. Compromises will be painful, and trust will need to be rebuilt from the ground up. The international community must play a supportive role, ensuring that any agreement is fair, sustainable, and respects Ukraine's sovereignty. In the end, peace isn't just a lofty ideal, it's a necessity. The alternative is a prolonged conflict with devastating consequences for Ukraine and the world. It's time for leaders to move beyond rhetoric, roll up their sleeves, and do the hard work of diplomacy. All right, folks, we've journeyed through the intricate maze of the Ukraine conflict today. From the staggering costs and the profiteers of war to the precarious geopolitical tightrope we're all walking, and finally, the daunting yet essential quest for peace. It's a lot to digest, but here's the crux. This war isn't a distant headline. It's a global tremor affecting us all. The path to peace is fraught with challenges, but it's not an impossible dream. It demands unwavering commitment, genuine dialogue, and, above all, the courage to prioritize humanity over politics. As we've discussed, recent developments show a flicker of hope, but the road ahead requires collective effort and relentless pursuit of justice and stability. Before we wrap up, I want to thank you for tuning into Full Spectrum Frontiers. If today's discussion resonated with you, if it sparked a new thought or provided clarity, please consider liking, sharing, and leaving a review. Your support amplifies these crucial conversations and brings more voices into the dialogue. Stay informed, stay engaged, and remember, the quest for peace is a journey we all share. Until next time, this is Bennett Tanton, signing off.
It's just you, me, and the odds. We stuck together, we two peas in a pod. You dealt a bad hand, I'm there seizing the cards. We'll never be separated till we see in the gods. We've been low together, high forever. Long as we go together, we'll die whenever. Be a light, couldn't let the darkness try you ever. Truth in my word, you I lie to never. And when the world gets a little too hard, wipe your eyes, put away your sorrow. When it's war, I'll be leading the charge, and I'll be still fighting for you tomorrow. Yeah, even with a blindfold or in different time zones, could find my way to you with my eyes closed. There's nothing between us. Go to Mars and Venus, stand in front of every one of them rocks. They slimming and being shit.
Your shield in the fiercest battle, I'll defend you from all these arrows in the sword. I will keep you from danger. Let me be your shield.
Yeah, let's go. Let me be your shield, let me be your shield. Let me be your shield, let me be your shield. Let me be your shield, let me be your shield. Let me be your shield, let me be your shield.
You may be facing tribulation, but don't let it get you down. What I'm saying may take patience, but you're gonna make it out. I scorched my own 2 feet to pull you to say